Good afternoon. I'm very selfish when we are talking about youth. This is why I decided to moderate my selfish session, because I love spending time with youth. So I will not introduce each of them. I will ask them to introduce themselves, because this time is yours, the voice is yours. So let's start with Rasha. Please, Rasha.
Hello, everyone, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, our great, brilliant minds. Don't be surprised if my heart breaks my ribs at some point. I'm so excited and pleased to be among you. I am Rasha Al-Gahtani, 19 years old. I am a student, a freshman at King Saud University. I won the 3rd award at ISEF, and I am the co-managing director of the Youth Chamber Alumni. And I am pretty much interested in psychology, humans, teenagers, and growth.
Faisal.
So, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, our noble literates, or may I say my heroes, it's been an honor meeting you all. My name is Faisal Khwaitar. I'm from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm a high school senior. I assume why am I being in front of you on stage because I won the 2nd place in the International Science Engineering Fair on Plant Science.
How many awards the Saudi delegation won? I was following, it was quite impressive.
Well, we were the 2nd in the world, so we had 23 grand and special awards, 2nd to the US. So.
Bravo, bravo, yes, a round of applause. Asrar, please, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, our Nobel laureate, and guests. Thank you so much for being here, and it's an honor to meet all of you in this event. My name is Asrar Damdam. I am a PhD candidate at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. I'm also an entrepreneur, the founder and CEO of Uvera. Uvera is a company that I founded back in 2019 in Silicon Valley, California, to reduce food waste.
Amazing, thank you. Khaled.
Your Honor, Your Excellencies, all the laureates and friends. I am pleased to be here. I am Khaled Al-Nizi. I am a student from Taipei University at the Department of Languages and Translation. I am from Al-Ola. Quite short, I don't like
a round of applause. Not easy for them to be on stage, so we need to support them, but you all have almost one point in common. Mashallah, you are all gifted. So how did you discover, or your family discovered, that you were gifted?
So, family-wise, I was different growing up. I was a bit naughty. I had, like, they can say, devil plans. I had good intent, but, I used most of my energy to, like, do different things around the house. So that's something that my mother noticed, that she noticed in also other gifted members of our family. So that's family-wise. But how we are gifted in Saudi Arabia, we have the organization, the King Abdulaziz organization for gifted students, Mawhiba. They do standardized tests each year to assess students' mental skills and how they can understand math, sciences, and also how they can understand questions. So we take those tests, and if we score like a high score, higher than average, we get into programs with Mawhiba to support us as youths.
Amazing. Faisal?
So for me, I love trying everything. So for me, I garden, I love cooking. I tried doing CS, learning mechanical engineering. Did not go well, but like I tried learning them. So I'm just trying everything. And as Rasha said, Mawhiba opened so many gates for me. I had 2 stints with them. So the first one was when I was 9 years old. I did not like science. I just like playing video games and just doing business, but like...
Amazing. Khaled?
I'm not part of the program they have been in. So.
But mashallah, you are also very... Asar?
The scientist in me was discovered by Mawhiba back in 2009 when I joined the the program that was designed for high school students. And then I realized that I love physics and mathematics and decided to study electrical engineering. And then I was also enabled by IFAT University. I studied electrical and computer engineering at IFAT University, and then enabled further by KAUST, by joining KAUST and completing my master's degree and almost wrapping up my PhD in electrical engineering now. So this is the scientist in me. The entrepreneur in me was discovered by a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley. His name is Tim Draper. I was just talking about a research paper that I loved about the effect of UV light on increasing the shelf life of food. And that was a part of the PhD that I was doing at KAUST. And then he wanted to invest. He said, this is a great idea. This will change the humanity, and this will significantly reduce food waste. And I would say he discovered the entrepreneur in me, and I was enabled a lot by his school. And then, yeah, I continued after that
If I
with
may
KAUST.
add, I do believe that everyone is gifted, but in a different field. And everyone at some certain stage in their lives will discover what they are gifted in. So
what should we do outside of the kingdom of Serbia to find this gifted?
To find these gifted, I would say follow the lead of Mawhiba. But as individuals, we must experiment a lot. We must find different activities that we can participate in until we find our true passion and our gifts.
You know, my passion when I was young, I'm an engineer, so my heroes were the Nobels.
Yes.
So this is why I'm here today, because finally, it's again, you realize how selfish I am. Who are your heroes today?
Well, my heroes are people who put the needs of others before their needs. And my heroes are represented in our leaders. His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman leading the vision of 2030. That was the most inspiring thing that woke me up, even though I was like 14 years old or 15 when I heard about the vision and its goals and how it relies on us youths to achieve those goals. That I was like, wow, well, he's young and he's a leader and he did that. He inspired me. And I can't help but say that His Royal Highness Prince Turkey is one of the heroes of mine. I've been looking at him for the past 2 days. I was like, I really want to have a conversation. I really want to say how I admire what you have done and the things that you have done in the past. You really did great things, and we really get inspired by each and every small talk that you give. Also, I must mention my parents. They are my #1 heroes. They did all that they can do to support me and to lead the way for me and show me what I can do with my abilities. So those are my heroes.
Listen.
Well, of course, I'm standing in front of my heroes actually today, but a special hero of mine is my mom.
Your mom?
Yes.
Why?
She raised me, had a family of 4 with a mentally disabled child, with also completing her studies, working full-time, and she was loving and caring in each and every moment with a smile on her face. So I think that nothing can beat that.
Amazing, amazing. Khaled?
Aside from all the wonderful people in this room who have inspired me to be a better person in my life, one of the people I look to is my father. One of the things he inspired me, he never gave up, no matter what situation he's in. So that's one of the things that inspired me to be a better person.
Amazing. Asara?
The heroes to me are the person who can make a positive change to the entire humanity. And I have 2 heroes so far. The first one is Steve Jobs, and that's very obvious for all entrepreneurs. All of us admire Steve Jobs because he created that positive change, and it's not only about the products of Apple, the MacBook, the iPhones that almost everyone is using nowadays, but it's also about creating that ecosystem, the entrepreneurial ecosystem. I think he's one of the innovators of that ecosystem. The second one is Mark Zuckerberg. I had the chance.
You are a very tech lady, no?
Yes. So I had the chance to visit the headquarters of Facebook. And I admire Facebook so much. Not the product itself, I'm not a big fan of the product, but Facebook as a corporate. It's magnificent, the sophistication, about all the details, the department, like the like button, only the like button of Facebook, there is like a huge department only taking care of the like button. And so many other things that I've seen at Facebook, and this is what I want to replicate in my company, and this is what I want to see here in the kingdom. Corporates like Facebook.
Talking about inventions, what is the best invention that you saw for the past few years? What do you consider was the best invention?
I don't know if it's considered invention or not, but I would say the internet.
The internet.
The internet.
Khaled?
The vaccine.
Vaccine.
It saved us from the crisis.
Amazing.
We cannot undervalue its benefits for us.
Faisal?
I believe the greatest invention is in all our hands. It's this little guy, our phones.
Ashara?
I believe it's this device, the microphone.
Why?
Well, when you...
This one specifically or all microphones?
All microphones, of
Why?
course. The power of words is a really huge power. Words affects people in many different ways. When you want to speak, you want to make sure that everyone listens to you. And I think a microphone does that, clearly.
Let's stay on that. I will be a little bit provocative. Do you think your generation has too much power?
Yes. We have too much power. But listen, we waited so long to get a seat at the table. So when we finally did, we might have just took things a bit further.
But what are you doing with this power?
Well, on the positive side, we are going and talking about social problems, raising awareness, and trying to get sectors, such governmental and private sectors, to help solve problems that we deal with. On the negative side, I mean, it's obvious to you all. I think there's a lot of things.
Faisal, what do you think?
For me, I think we do not have too much power.
You don't.
We just have enough, barely enough power. But power in the wrong hands, though, can be so much inflated that it affects. Do you think we have? No, we do not have much power.
What should we do to control this danger, this risk?
Well, having right minds, right education, right hands, preventing power to get to the wrong people, make society more conscious about what's right and wrong.
I think we have the means to have so much power. We have the tools, but we're still...
What are these tools, in addition of social media?
Yeah, mainly the social media. Yeah, it's mainly the social media.
Yes, I do agree that our generation has too much power. With social media, you can spread misinformation, which can badly damage the society. So to combat that, we need to educate the people about the consequences of using social media when it's being used in the wrong means.
What about technology? Do you think technology is the new language of your generation?
Yes, it is the new language of our generation. It opened so many doors and opportunities for us.
How do you see technology as, I would say, an added value for your generation?
Because at this time, someone can get educated and be an expert at a subject without needing to even go to university and to study for it. He can do it from his phone, from his computer. So getting knowledge is not as difficult as it once was. So this is a great power.
So I would steal a word that Rasha said in the interactive sessions. Technology is a double-edged sword.
Is?
A double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword.
So if you use it the right way, it could help you prevail everything. But if you use it in the wrong way, well, I don't want to go there, so yeah.
It is surely the new language of our generation, and we surely have technology all around us. Like, you cannot isolate yourself from technology anymore. I think it is rather a good thing more than it is a bad thing. You know, technology has helped us a lot in reaching out to each other, in improving our science, in improving medical fields, improving educational fields. COVID-19 showed us the importance of technology, and I think that's the most beautiful thing that came out from this horrific pandemic.
Technology helped you to become an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
At which stage are you with your company? What do you need?
At this stage, we need...
Tell us more about your company.
So what we do at the company, we invented a technology that can increase the shelf life of food up to 97% on average without any use of chemicals and within only 30 seconds of using the device. We tailored this device for the use of households because according to the United Nations Food Waste Index report of 2021, 61% of the global food waste is generated from households. And that's why we're bringing this device to households, hopefully by the end of this year. We spent the last 2 years in the R&D, the product development, experimental microbiology experiments to verify the effectiveness of the product on the food and to quantify the extended shelf life for different food items. And thanks to KAUST, we're doing all of these experiments at KAUST. But what we need right now is to enter the market. And to enter the market, we need funding. And this is one of the...
Is it easy to find funding today for you, young entrepreneurs? Easy or difficult?
Is it difficult?
What do you need?
It depends where I'm operating. I operated for 1 year in Silicon Valley in California, and the access to funding was super easy. It's super easy there to find investor to invest in an idea. Only an idea, without a prototype, without a team. They would invest in ideas. Now I'm operating here, and this is one of the things that I'm suffering from.
In the kingdom?
Yes, in the kingdom.
So let's give us an advice to the leadership of the kingdom about entrepreneurship, how to support entrepreneurs.
The entrepreneurs are very well empowered these days in the kingdom. But there is one sector in the entrepreneurship that still needs to be empowered more, which is the hardware companies. The companies that are built based on a scientific discovery or a research. The companies that are building hardware. Those ones are in a category that is not favorable for most of the venture capitalists in the kingdom. And I think it will change over time, but the one advice that I would give is to create a venture capital that invests in hardware companies and research-based discoveries.
Do you agree, Faisal? I think you discovered a bacteria.
Yes.
Tell us more about it.
In my project, I've been able to discover plant growth promoting bacteria. So I got some beneficial bacteria from plants actually north of here in Al Jawf, Saudi Arabia. These bacteria can help other plants survive in harsh environments. So as you said, I'm not yet I'm still in the R&D session at my lab at KAUST. We're still working on that. Yet finding funding is not such an easy job here. Maybe in Silicon Valley, of course, we do have some. I was starting up a Silicon Valley in Riyadh and somewhere in Dhahran, so it's still ongoing.
I agree.
Rasha, what do you think is making your generation unique?
What's making us unique? We have more resources than ever. And for us in Saudi Arabia in particular, our leadership gave us the responsibility to achieve the goals for the next decade. So that's what's making us different.
Do you agree?
Yes, totally.
What else?
As much as we have resources, the knowledge, the educational ways, the ways we can communicate people from furthest, 21 countries today. I don't think 30 years ago it would be that easy to get 21 countries in the same room with vastly different ideas to communicate, to solve problems that we have in common.
Khalid?
We have the means. We just need to know how to use them the right way.
Asara?
The question?
The question about what do you think is making your generation unique?
Yes, because as Rasha said, we're very well empowered. Unlike the previous generation, I had a discussion with a friend who has also a huge solar cells company in the kingdom, and both of us are at the same age. And in that discussion, we were talking about the previous generation. We're also super hardworking, but the difference about that generation and our generation is that we're super empowered by the government.
Do you consider that there is a rupture between your generation and our generation?
Well, I don't think it's a rupture to say that, but there is a difference. Technology boosts us so many times.
But do you think we understand you?
Yeah, that's a bit difficult to say. I don't think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think humans in general can
You have
understand
a privilege to be talking to the.
Yes, I've had so many things in common with everyone, but I'd say you can't perfectly understand the generation if you weren't in it.
What should we do to understand you?
Well, you've done a huge step here.
Yes.
You brought us, you invited us. We are pleased to be among you. There's a lot of friendly faces because they spoke to us, which is something I didn't really expect. I was like, they might have different interests or different topics they want to talk about. But each time I sat with everyone in this room, we find a topic that we are both interested in. So I don't see that there is a mindset gap between the two generations. It is just we were not used to being communicated together, connected together. So this step, having us in this conference, means a lot to us and means that we are working to get a better connection between our generations and yours.
Khaled?
You have to give the youth the proper motivation and the opportunities they need to achieve wonders. Because the youth bring more ideas, they bring new ideas that the previous generation did not think of. So more opportunities like the one we have here, to listen to the youth, to know what they think, because they bring new ideas to the table.
Yes.
Ashra, do you agree?
Yes, and I would say to increase the understanding between the youth and the previous generation and the leadership of, for example, the ministries and the royal commissions, is to have one of the youth within like the board of advisory, or like talking to the top management to translate how we think and maybe translate more ideas to the top management to facilitate the communication.
Talking about how you think, help me to understand something. In the United States, where I live, there is this big phenomenon called the Great Resignation. The past 7 months, 12 million people quit their jobs. 12 million. They were having a job and they left, including in my own company. And I was asking them, under the age of 30, why are you leaving? Oh, we want to work from home, we want to have a different quality of life. How do you understand? Can you explain to us this phenomenon?
Yeah, we think in this generation, opportunities came from home. COVID opened so many doors for us. As much as it closed so many of them, it opened so many gates. We never took the idea of working from home seriously until we thought it was possible. We don't need to commute to an office 20 minutes
But you
away.
don't feel isolated from the others? What about what humanity is about if it's not being with others?
Well, we are with others. I think I'm a Zoom call away from everyone in this conference. So it's how you communicate, and also, as you said, technology opened so many doors. We see the mountain. We didn't used to see it, so we know we want to climb it. So people think that's the right way to do it, and I respect their opinions.
If I may add, I think this generation in particular have learned that there can be different paths to be followed. And there is not only one path. So I would say to the organizations or to the people that hire the younger generation to just maybe change the culture of the place that you are working with. You want to appeal them to where you are. You cannot use the same rules from the past decades on those who experience different experiences in life. So if you want to keep them, give them an environment that will appeal them to be there and keep being there. Like, it might have been a bad decision for most of them to just quit their jobs and pursue life. I'm sure most of them came back searching for jobs. But sometimes the well-being of a person makes them do those decisions, and we are in this generation trying to raise awareness about mental health. So if you don't feel comfortable at a place or you feel pressured, you just quit and find another place. So my advice to everyone who is hiring the younger generation, to give them the right environment so they can produce more and stay with you.
Talking about advice, if you have one advice to give to the leaders of the world, what would be that? We have few leaders here in the room, of course. What will be the advice you will give?
Well,
Faisal?
it's never too late. It's never too late.
Khaled, what is your advice?
To listen to other opinions, because if we are ignorant to other opinions, we will never be better, and we will never accomplish better in our lives and the development of the world.
Great, that's all right.
To empower youth.
To empower youth.
Well, to give a quote from one of the conversations, they said, to keep the child in you alive, it's what motivates you. So that's my advice.
We have 10 more minutes to go, so now let's listen to the other generation. And it's not planned, but I would like to ask few leaders here. Former Prime Minister of Norway, what do you have to say to the youth? If you have one advice to give them. Please, if you can give the microphone.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank all for these young people what you brought us now. That was a great inspiration for us who are older. I will say to you that listening to young people from this kingdom, as you are, I really have a hope for the future. Forgive us, the older generations, our mistakes. Draw your experience from what we have done and do it. I'm sure you will do it better. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Royal Highness, with your permission, this was not planned. I know you will deliver a speech in a few minutes, but please, you are an inspiration to many of the young people in the kingdom and even outside of the kingdom.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, thank you all for being here. Not just young, but even senior citizens like myself. I don't have advice to give, but really I listen to the advice that they have given us, because they're opening our eyes to who they are, and they're the future. We're the past. So go ahead, prosper, do yourselves a lot of good, don't quit, and keep at it. This is the best thing you can do.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness. Thank you very much. We would like to hear from two contributors. I will call the Professor Catherine Gillard, which is a 2021 L'Oréal UNESCO for Women Science Laureate, Acting Executive Director, African Academy of Science of Kenya. Where is the Professor Catherine? Here she is, please.
Here she is. Thank you very much. I'm so excited indeed to see these young academics as well as future leaders. Very impressive conversation. I would like to more or less engage them on the digital economy. During COVID, we saw that COVID was ugly. But then there was something beautiful that also came out of it. Way back in 2013, I was supposed to participate in a conference. They were calling it webinar, and I didn't know what that meant. So I simply just avoided. I said, oh, so I'm so busy, I'm teaching, blah, blah, blah. But the idea was that I didn't know what to do. Come COVID 2020, everybody had to dip in. And we all now had to become experts in teaching, in learning, in economy, and so forth and so on. When you look at Africa particularly, we see that youth, of course, they are the majority. But then because of the access, they are limited in access. They don't have the facilities in terms of economics and finances and so forth and so on. But there is a huge opportunity that youth can tap. In fact, if you look at the learning, we see that Africa access to digital platform is between 5 and 50, depends on the country percent. Depends on the country. In Europe, it's more than 80 access. So you can see there is already a big difference and also what we call the digital divide. Now, going forward, Africa relies on agriculture. And we see there's a lot of opportunities for youth. Smart farming, particularly I come from Kenya. And every single day, the television is bombarding us with smart farms, smart agriculture. Now we have started seeing young people getting interested in smart farming. And you know what? The biggest opportunity for the youth I've noticed is actually the service sector, the service sector. During COVID, in Kenya, we've got this system, and it is also in East Africa. It is called border border. Border border simply means motorcycle. So there's a lot of service that they were giving. During that COVID, old people like myself, more than 60 years, could not go to the supermarkets. So they used to send the border border to go and buy stuff and bring to their houses. And we saw that sector of service sector really becoming huge and large. But what now the governments in Africa needs to do is to formalize and put policies in place to provide enabling environment for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution. Now I will call the Professor Jennifer Thompson, 2004 L'Oréal UNESCO for Women Science Laureate. She's from the University of Cape Town, South Africa. Please, Professor.
Thank you very much. In South Africa, where I come from, we have a Young Academy of Science, and they have a conference every year. And in 2016, the topic of the conference was Women in Science. And I had just been elected as president of the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World. So they asked me to come and speak at this conference, and I looked at the audience, and I said, goodness me, what a lot of young men. Have you come to meet the young women? And they said, no. We don't want the women in our lives to be treated like the women in our mother's era and in our aunts and our grandparents. We want the dignity of being recognized. And so one of the first things that I did when I was a president of this Women's in Science organization was open it to men. As long as the men agreed with our policy of promoting women in science, we need each other. And the other thing about the youth, which is marvelous, is they're action-oriented. So my question to the organizers of this conference is, what's going to come out of it? Is it just going to be words, or is it going to be actions? In 2 years' time, can we meet again and say, what have we done? Thank you very much.
1 year. Why are we waiting 2 years? Talking about precisely raising our voice and not being just talks. You know, on the board outside, I was looking before entering the room about all the suggestions, and I noticed one which is a challenge. And I would like to hear your comments. One person wrote, we talk a lot, but who is listening?
I do believe that the people that talk should also listen, and people should listen more than they talk. We're all here talking solutions to problems that are huge, but we all are also listening to other problems that we face. So talkers should also listen.
Khaled, what do you think?
Instead of talking, we should focus more on actions. Someone could speak and talk about good developments in the world and things that he wants to happen. But if there is no action, you will never see result.
Asrar?
I think the audience of these conferences or the organizers of these conferences should somehow find a way to invite more doers, the people who do.
You think here we don't have doers?
This room is full of doers.
Thank you.
Yes, but typically in a lot of conferences, the invitations are generic. This is a very special event. We have the Nobel laureate and all of those great guests who achieved great things within their lifetime. And this is an exemplary list of guests who are, most of them are doers, if not all of them. But answering that, about the piece of doing more than speaking, I think this part is important. But I still don't know how the organizer would know who are the doers, who are the people who should listen to the speakers, especially if the decision makers are speaking or yeah, I think that's it. Yes.
Well, we talk a lot, but who listens? We shouldn't talk a lot, actually. We should talk with quality. We should talk less, but make really good points. Talking a lot is boring, even though I talk a lot myself. But when you make the right points, when you trigger your audience, when you have a goal, a clear goal of your conversation, you will find listeners, and you will find people who will take action after these conversations.
We have 90 seconds to go. I have a last question for you. If you have the power to run the world, because you are so ambitious, what will be the first law that you will issue which has to be respected by everyone on earth? One law.
One law. I would say solve a social problem a day. That would be my law. Because as said earlier, every problem is born with the solution in the same womb. So I would let everyone solve one social problem a day.
What do you think is #1 problem for the next 5 years?
Well, I'm sure I'm not for me and what I see from my research on mental health, it is mental health. We are going to struggle a lot if we didn't catch up earlier.
Ashra, one law.
Limiting the access to weapons, because one of the things that concerns me a lot is the violence, the potential of violence, and I think one of the one of the top reasons that would increase the violence in the future is the video gaming industry, because a lot of these video games spread the idea of violence, and a lot of researchers revealed that young children who play video games and see violence in these video games are more aggressive. And so this is what concerns me the most about the future.
Khaled, one law.
To respect each other's opinions and views.
Bravo.
Well, I think I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, so if I want to put one law, is that be flexible with people's opinions. Do not have a rock-solid opinion, because ideologies change.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Faisal, for Rasha, for Asrar, and of course, for our friend Khaled. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Please. My God, standing ovations. Can you believe it? Please, تفضل.